Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi everybody, it's Jane Johnston. I'm with Vancouver Island Time, and today we have with us Charmaine Welch, who is the Fudge Fairy of Metchosin. Yay! And she's actually given me some nice warm fudge here.
Chocolate.
Yummy, and she put some yummy stuff in it too. Okay, Charmaine, first of all, let's talk about Metchosin and what it is that you like about living here, and how long have you been here, and how did you come to choose Metchosin as a place to live?
Well, Metchosin is in our family history. My dad lived here in about the mid 1940s. Had never been here, but my dad talked about it a lot. I grew up island in Union Bay. And I'd always heard about Metchosin. So when we were looking around for a place to live, my husband needed a bit of land for his work at that time. And we decided on land as opposed to a nice house. So we bought a kind of a tumble-down house and has repurposed it and rebuilt it over the years. We've been here 28 years now, so quite a while. So our youngest two children have grown up here, and the two older ones were quite young when we moved here. So it's a fabulous place to bring up children. We've got the beautiful environment, we've got parks, we've got things to do, we've got Metchosin Lake, Blankhorn Lake, Pearson College, all the parks. We've got one within spitting distance called Devonian Park, which is like as exciting as Whitty's. You may know Whitty's Lagoon, but Devonian has got everything that Whitty's has, except not as many people.
And not as much sand.
No, not as much sand, but sand is way overrated.
It is. The little rocks don't get cut between your toes. Actually, I have a funny story about Devonian Park. So when our kids were little, we used to take them, don't tell anybody this, but we used to take them down through the trails, and one of us would walk with Easter eggs in our pocket, and then with a hole, and then the Easter eggs would flow down our pants, and then they would be on the forest floor, and our kids would find the Easter eggs. They put them in the basket, then we'd recycle them and go down all the way down to the beach. So that's a great trick if you're a parent, by the way. So tell me about the community here, because as you know, I live out here, so I find this a very unique community. What's your favorite event to do during the year?
Oh, hands down, Metchosin Day. Metchosin Day is just fabulous. It's the day where people you haven't seen for a whole year, you're going to bump into them. I particularly like it because that's my only day in my whole life where I feel like a rock star. Being the Fudge Fairy, everybody stops by to see me. Even if they don't buy fudge, they come by and say hi. So absolutely, hands down.
What is the format of Metchosin Day?
Metchosin Day is a one-day, very untechnical farmers fair. So there's no fancy rides. There's hay rides. There is all kinds of community organizations.
Doesn't the firefighters have a target and you can shoot the hose at the target?
Sometimes they have a dunk tank. Yes. Because I've been been a vendor for so many years, I actually don't get to see very much. I get to take a break and go to those really fancy bathrooms that they have there, and I get back again, but I get to see everybody, so it's a very fun time. I love the dogs, the pet show, all the kids that show up with all that stuff, and
there's gymnastics.
Yes, what's that called? The dog trials, where they jump over things, and I just absolutely love watching them, especially the really not appropriately agile dogs like Dachshunds are just so funny watching them jump over those hurdles.
How many vendors are there? Like over 50?
It's grown over the years. I would say there's probably a good 100 now. In the old days, there was maybe 25. So it's really, really, really grown. And there's many people that come from outside Metchosin now. The popularity has really grown. And it's topped off at the end of the day. If you buy tickets, you can get their fabulous lamb salmon dinner made with the fresh local corn, fresh lamb, and I assume fresh salmon as well.
Yeah, I'm usually the bun lady at the, or a few times I've been the cutlery lady. I was going to say though, but during the day they also have local entertainment.
Oh yes, there's lots of local people who entertain, and the most famous recently has been Jesse Roper. He's our very own. He's an up-and-coming, I'm not sure what genre, but I would say kind of rock and roll, but really out there rock and roll.
Yeah, kind of indie type thing.
Yes. Yeah, he's marvelous. I love watching Jesse work. Yes.
It's got a great sense of community. What I find is true, it's a greeting place. Everybody comes together who you haven't seen for the year, if you haven't happened to be in touch with them. But also, you get a good feel for what's going on with people in what they're getting up to, and all the various community groups, both for kids, the seniors, and there's also the pie contest.
Oh yes, there's pie contests, and there's cake and jams and weirdo vegetables and all kinds of stuff. There's many photography contests. There's all kinds of things. So you can get as involved as you want. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when they have the dinner, they offer people to buy a piece of the pies that are made, and so we can try them, which is really quite nice. And then during the day, they have also food available as well. So they have the scouts do different types of food that they sell, hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff.
And Johan, our local Galloping Goose sausage man, and if you've never had one of his sausages in a bun, that's worth getting out of bed to come down and see it. He's also at the farmers markets on Sundays as well, and he does a marvelous job.
Yeah, and they are for sale at the Metchosin General Store, by the way, and I think, are they up at Millstream Market too?
Could very well be. I don't get out of Metchosin much. What's the point?
And what about the farmers market? Are you there?
Not now. I was at one time. Fortunately or unfortunately, my bow ties have more or less taken over my life, and now I am out at markets on weekends with the bow ties. I've sort of saturated Metchosin with the bow ties, and it's not really worth my time to go up to the farmers market on Sundays. But I go there myself and buy stuff when I'm not at a market myself. Love it. It's wonderful.
What about, so there's a Metchosin, I'm thinking downtown Metchosin, which is a corner, and I have taken pictures of it. So we have the Metchosin Cafe, the corner store, the community hall, as well as the little...
Seniors Information Resource Center.
Right. So what do you find about those as a resource for anybody moving here? I know they have badminton, I think, on Monday nights. And
badminton, I think, has gone the way of the dinosaur. My husband's a huge proponent of badminton, and he used to go to the Sunday night badminton. And Thursday there was a women's league. Unfortunately, I think, as one of my young sons once said, we think the box has stolen their brains. We think maybe Netflix has, overcome some of the athletic endeavors. But we do have jazzercise. Oh my goodness. If you've never been to Mandy's jazzercise is magnificent. She is an absolutely amazing person. And you will come away invigorated instead of tired after her jazzercise. So if you've never tried Mandy's, she's got a jazzercise going 6 days a week here in Metchosin.
Oh, 6 days now.
6 days a week. Yep. Sunday's the only day that she doesn't have a class.
So the community hall is where that takes place, right?
The community hall, at one time, she was also using the gym at the Montessori school, or the private school.
Westmont.
Yes, Westmont School. But now that they're doing that, I'm not too sure how she's picking up the slack. But I suspect maybe it might be just at the hall now. Yes.
Oh, because they're renovating.
Yes, they're doing I'm not too sure on the details, but I know it looks like an enormous renovation going on down there.
Yeah, they're actually, so the Montessori school was traditionally, it was 1 to 6, then it went to 8, and I think they're actually building to include up to high school, grade 12. And then in terms of other schools in the area, one of the great things about Metchosin is that it does have its own local elementary school, so Hans Helgeson. And we have friends who live around the corner whose kids just walk there from here. So really nice. What about in terms of the natural attributes of Metchosin? Do you ever use the trails, or did you use the trails? We have the Galloping Goose Trail right behind us, I'm assuming.
The Galloping Goose is a wonderful thing for people like myself who I really don't feel comfortable driving my bike on the road. So the Galloping Goose is very safe. There's hardly any hills, seriously.
Yeah, because it used to be an old railway that went from Victoria to Souk, and then they've converted it to a trail. Underneath the trail are some services like there's a gas line under the trail. So they maintain the trail really well. And when I lived at Pearson College, actually, I used to walk around the block, which was 5 kilometers. Half on the Galloping Goose Trail. But if you ever want to go like from here to Matheson Lake, you can do it all on the trail. It's really, really nice. We'll show you some pictures of it and see what that looks like. What about in terms of Pearson College? You ever get involved there? Because that's the largest local college in Metchosin.
Pearson College, maybe I'm telling tales out of school, is the only charity that my husband donates to. I donate to other charities, but that's the only, and I even hesitate to call it a charity. It's a wonderful organization. And I think if there were many, many more Pearson colleges around the world, I think we'd have a whole lot less strife, a whole lot less problems altogether. Pearson College is a wonderful place for young people to go and meet people from all over the world, get opportunities that they might not otherwise be available to them, and for kids to just realize that we're just all people. You know, it's a great institution for sure, and they have got the most beautiful setting in the world, bar none, for any school.
Yeah. So my husband and I used to work there, and we were house parents there. And he also ran the waterfront program and the lighthouse program that they have there. So they are the protectors of the marine protected area out on Race Rocks. So you can check them out on racerocks.com. Okay. And then just one more thing about this area. If you want to try on Metchosin, you can. So there's Weir Beach, which we have nicknamed, because we used to live above it, Weird Beach, because it smells in certain times of the year because of the
that smell is what makes the best vegetables ever. My husband goes down and gets seaweed and puts it in our garden, and it is the most fabulous compost ever. So yes, it's smelly for the first few days. I must say, I go around with my nose, closed, but after that, it's marvelous. So yes.
Yeah, it's true. And I've noticed actually a lot of Asian people go and get it because I guess they know the properties. It's sargassum that is landing on the beach there. But there is an RV park there if you want to try out Metchosin. And then there's also the marina.
Yeah, there's a beautiful restaurant, the most picturesque restaurant in all of Victoria, Glen Rosa. The house, the bed and breakfast is beautiful. Metchosin Cafe and Metchosin Pizza, can't beat that. We even have fish and chips now on Thursday night, which is very, very nice. The one thing that I would like to mention is the Glow Gallery. in Metchosin, we have some fabulous artists. So the Glow Gallery, which is located in the old Metchosin School building, is marvelous. And there's other artists there as well.
Metchosin has some very famous potters in this neighborhood.
Only one.
Robin
has since passed, but Judy, his wife, is still here.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
well,
yes.
I'm sorry about that.
Yes. Yeah, I hadn't actually I didn't meet Judy till just very recently. I happened to be working at the Coast Collective, and she came in with some of her friends, so I was able to meet her. Very nice lady. Very
you can drop in to their house and see all the pottery. It's just fabulous. I bought my mom some stuff from there. And if you're interested in learning more, you can check us out on our website at briarhillgroup.com. We do have listings that come up in the area. Last year I sold 2 in Metchosin, and it's such a lovely neighborhood. I have lived here myself 18 years. How long have you been here?
28 years, and we haven't talked about the people here yet. That's like the most important thing. I mean, the parks are great, they're fabulous, but Metchosinites are amazing to a person. I haven't met one creepy one yet. Not one.
And we have the Metchosin Muse, right?
Oh, yes. I have been very good at contributing to the Muse.
And the polar bear tip, January 1st.
I'm not talking about that. We have a polar bear swim on New Year's Day, and I hate swimming. I hate the water. I can't even go and look at those crazies down there jumping in that water.
Usually they take a 10-kilometer run and then they head to the beach. And also the Parisian Cafe, Helen Fletcher runs that.
Oh, yes. I haven't actually been to that, but I am aware of that. And the Seniors Information Resource Center is a great resource as well. I haven't had very much to do with it yet, but I do plan to. They do. One of the things that I'm way overdue is the program they have up there where they pair older people like myself with young teenage people to help you with your computing skills. I mean, that's amazing. So one of these days I'll get up there and do that.
They do that with the Pearson College students too. They'll team you up.
Right. Good. Okay. Well, I definitely need it.
The other thing we haven't mentioned at Pearson College is they do regional days, so you can go and try out all food and drink from different regions. I'm actually really distracted right now because there are about 100 birds outside the window. It's really beautiful. So we'll show you that too. Anyway, so I think we're out of time actually for the Metchosin part. So, but, we'll interview other people and learn more. There's tons to do here. So if you're into nature, you can check it out. They do have their own page. I think it's metchosin.bc.ca. And if you want more information from me, you're welcome to check me out at briarhillgroup.com. I'm Jane Johnston with Remax Camosin, and we'll be back talking more with Charmaine Welch about her fudge fairy business and her bow tie business. So stay tuned.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosin, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
And we're back with Charmaine Welch and the Fudge Fairy, and then we're going to be talking about the bow tie industry that she has. But first of all, I'm interested, how did you find fudge, or did fudge find you?
Fudge found me. Years and years ago, my husband and I had a shrub business. So we were growing shrubs. I had a part-time job. He had a full-time job. We had 4 kids, but we decided in our wisdom to start a shrub business. So he was mostly focusing on evergreens and hedging and stuff like that. And then he would get bored and then he'd do a few fuchsias and some ceanothus and stuff like that. I am not a gardener. I did enjoy the meditative quality of weeding. So I was a very good weeder. And then when he would get them to a point where they were to be sold, that's where I stepped in. I'm a good marketer. So my idea was to start out, just as we were just beginning, putting things down at the end of the driveway and doing a farm stand kind of thing. So I was very happily putting things down there, and people were stopping by. But then they wouldn't stop by anymore. But I still had different things coming out of the nursery. So I thought, well, what else can I put down there to attract people?
Like bees to honey.
Like bees to honey. So I thought to myself, what could I put down there to keep people stopping by? So I thought, well, I'll make some fudge. I'm a good fudge maker. So the first day I sold 1 plate. The next day I sold 2 plates, and then 4 plates. And then all of a sudden I wasn't in the shrubbery anymore. I was in the fudge making business. So that's how the Fudge Fairy was born.
How do you come up with your flavors for fudge?
Well, I've got 52 flavors, but in my farm stand, I only sell my fudge at the farm stand. I don't have it in any stores. I did that very briefly. It was a nightmare. I hated it. I had rented a commercial kitchen. I had some commercial customers. It was horrible. It just did not fit into my life at all. So I scaled back. I quit with the commercial kitchen. I work in my home kitchen now. I can work in my pajamas. I can work at midnight, and it just suits me way better than having to be somewhere at 9 o'clock with a certain amount of fudge. So I started out with, chocolate and peanut butter and butterscotch and chocolate mint and coffee mocha and chocolate orange. And then I got bored, and then I just started more and more in different combinations.
One for every week of the year.
Yeah, exactly. It just happened that way. I did not plan to have 52 flavors like that, but I discovered a place in the States called Loran's Oils, and that sort of really opened up the possibilities of being able to make lemon meringue fudge and 3 ginger fudge, and then of course you can take some of those and swirl them together and then call it chocolate peanut butter swirl. So, yeah, just goes on and on.
So tell me, because I worked in a chocolate store, do you ever get sick of eating the fudge?
No. And I've always said to my young customers that if the Fudge Fairy ever got tired of eating her own fudge, she'd hang up her apron.
Okay, so your favorite is mocha?
Coffee mocha.
Coffee mocha.
Yes.
Doesn't mocha have coffee in it?
Yes, I call it coffee mocha just to differentiate it, to make sure that people know that there is caffeine in it. Of course, chocolate has caffeine in it too, but yeah, this got an extra kick. And I do another coffee-oriented one, and I call it Cafe au lait. So it's a vanilla fudge made with the coffee in it, and it tastes just like the middle of Coffee Crisp. That creamy deliciousness in the coffee crisp. Yes.
So I get to taste some of these today. Okay, so where do you go to get your chocolate and stuff like that?
I pick it up usually on sale. So just wherever I can get a good price. And of course I pass the savings along to my customers.
Okay, and you have managed to have one employee or a couple of employees doing this?
My son has been in university, and yes, I have employed him.
Okay, so I have a question regarding the stand out there. Have you found people are honest, or like I know I have a friend who has a chicken stand or egg stand, and she finds some people like don't pay and then they'll come back and pay another day, or somebody one time stole, a dozen eggs. Do you find that happens? And I have to tell you, this is a very popular stand. As I mentioned in one of the introductions, the bus has stopped here, and I've seen the bus driver get out to get...
More than once.
More than once. Okay, so do you find, are people honest, or how is it maintaining the stand?
It has been difficult in the past. To the point there was a year I was so frustrated I quit for a whole year. I could not stand people taking advantage of me. I'm not a fudge charity. Then I got smart and I put in a camera, and that's really, really, really cut down. I have lots of funny stories about the thefts that I've had down there, and you could read about those in my new book when I get it written.
Okay, well, tell me one. What's the funniest story?
Oh, probably the funniest story was there was a young couple coming out from Fernwood and stealing the whole contents of my cooler and taking it away. And this was happening week after week. And I know that they did it 2 or 3 times. One day, a car drove up, and it was the sister of one of the people in the car that was doing the thieving. And I said, what are they doing with all that fudge? Because I thought it would be a limiting thing. I mean, you can really, my fudge is fabulous, but you can only eat so much. So I thought it would be self-limiting and they would stop. And she said, oh, they're selling it in Fernwood. They live in Fernwood and they're selling it. So this was very dispiriting for me because I thought, okay, there's no end. Like, I'm going to be the manufacturer and the donator of fudge to these people.
How did you make the connection? The young girl said that.
The young girl drove up and asked, was I having trouble with theft? And I said, yes, I had been. And it was very much on the front part of my mind. And she said, no, it's my sister. I said, can you ask her to stop? And she said, I'm trying. So they came about 3 days after that. I happened to be, and I see them. I keep an eye on the stand. This was before I got the camera. I was watching, I was out in the raspberry patch, which is out in the front of the house, and it's not very far from the stand. I saw the same little rattle trap car drive up. So all my senses are on alert, but I thought, okay, I got to be careful here. I don't know who I'm dealing with. So I sauntered out of the raspberry patch and I got closer and I said, hi. And he looked up at me. He was just in the cooler and he looked up at me and then he turned around and went back to the car. And I said, oh, can I help you? And he said, oh, I've only got a $20 bill. And I said, oh, well, I have change. I had it in my apron pocket. So he said, oh, okay. And he ran to the cooler, opened it up, grabbed the first plate of fudge he could find, and he closed it, and he gave me the money. So in the meantime, while he's doing that, I'm looking at his car license plate, obviously, like I'm making a rubbing of it. Like I'm obviously remembering this license plate. So he hopped in the car, and I never saw them again.
But so they realized they had been caught.
They realized that I was making note of their license number and the jig was up. Yes.
And what about people who've come from afar? Anybody purchase from afar?
I have, speaking of Weir's Beach, I had some people come up from California and I met them 2 or 3 times down at the stand. And they said this was a big highlight of their trip. And they would buy maybe not lots, but they would take lots home for their people in California. So.
I used to stop with my kids here and have and buy some on the way home as a treat.
Well, I had young people whose children go to Hans Helgsen, and they used to drive by my house, but they had to start going up Taylor and around, making a detour so that they wouldn't actually go by the stand.
I think I know those people. Okay, so let's take a break here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about your bow tie business. I'm interested to hear. I bought a Superman bow tie, and
good for you.
And I also bought a Batman bow tie for my son one time. So let's look at the bow ties. We'll be right back. So tell me what we're looking at here. I see a ton of bow ties and some really cute ones, including the one with the looks like lipstick on it. How do you come up with the themes?
Well, they more or less suggest themselves in the fabrics that I find. It's a very little known fact that I'm a fabric hoarder. So this business is magnificent because it lets me hoard as much fabric as I want. So I get to shop at midnight in my pajamas. I find marvelous fabrics in secondhand stores. I do try and shop as much locally as I can. So the Cloth Castle in Langford sees me quite often. And I buy lots of my, backing materials and my supplies from them. And sometimes I get an inspiration. I'm very excited right now. I am able to do something called photo transfer. I'm just going to take this bow tie out here, and I'm just going to explain what photo transfer is. So photo transfer is basically taking an image and transferring it onto a t-shirt transfer. So this bow tie is sort of a culmination of a traditional bow tie with the music on it, and then sort of a pithy quotation. And I'm going to read this. This is my absolute favorite bow tie. So this one says, "My taste in music is perfect, and anyone who disagrees is wrong and probably smells weird." So I love a bow tie's ability to express your individuality. So I have something for everybody, and if I don't, I will find something for you. One of the stories that I tell all the time is the concept that there is a bow tie for everybody. And the reason I know that, I have 3 brothers. My middle brother is a very motorcycle driving mechanic. He plays hockey. He's a tough guy. And he wouldn't wear a bow tie if his life depended on it. So one night, we were going to a big barbecue at his house. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm a bow tie maker, so I have to make him a bow tie. So what could I make that would tickle his fancy? He's an enormous fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I made him a Toronto Maple Leaf bow tie with no concept that he would actually wear it. I thought he would put it with his memorabilia, and that would be it. So I got to his barbecue in front of his 120 beer drinking, motorcycle driving mechanic hockey types, and I gave it to him. He happened to have a navy blue golf shirt on. He saw that bow tie and he said to me, "Put it on me." So after I got up off the ground, having fainted dead away, I put it on him and he wore it all day. And that was when I began to believe that there is a bow tie for everybody. No exceptions. So
I noticed that you have gone from being the fudge fairy to the so fairy cute. That is very cute. I have a feeling my new friend who's a Dachshund designer would love to meet you, and probably you can do something with Dachshund design. Okay, and let's look over here.
These are my children's ones. I'm sorry they're not displayed better. The children's ones are just ever so much cuter than the adult ones, even though they're not even that much smaller. So I have all of the ones that are available in adults as children's, but I usually like to do them by custom order. So here's Thomas the Tank Engine. That's very, very, very popular. Then there's the, edgy pirates. You can't go too wrong with skulls. I've got Cookie Monster here. Let's get Cookie Monster out. So it's a little bit harder to keep up with children's trends, although I do have a 6-year-old granddaughter now, so she keeps me apprised of the Paw Patrol and My Little Pony and all those kinds of characters. So,
what's the price of all of these?
So my price across the board is $25. So that is something that it has taken me a long time to come to the realization that it's taken me 40 years to get to this point. I'm not fastidious in many things in my life, but I am a fabulous seamstress. So I'm very particular about my bow ties, and I really try and do the most perfect job ever. And I would like to give a nod to my coworker. I do employ a very good friend of mine who's as fastidious as I am, and she will pick up the slack when I get big orders. Okay, I have two basic styles of bow ties. There's the more traditional one with an adjustable strap. No tying is necessary. I really like the clip-on. It's a little bit more versatile. I'm going to clip yours off here, and I'm going to put another one on. And it's very, very similar, but it's just so darn cute. So the clip-ons, I like them because you can dress it down by putting it on the top of a t-shirt. Now look at that. How cute is that?
Do you know my dad always wore bow ties to work?
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that.
Some of these they're kind of circular in the middle.
When I very first started, I decided that a lot of the superhero bow ties that I got famous with, they needed the, I'm just going to show you the difference here. This is a traditionally shaped one. So what I did when I first started is I would starch them like that to make Mario really jump out. I've come away from that a little bit because I have a sneaking suspicion that people don't keep up that nice shape, even though I give them the rolls. So the pre-tied adjustable, which is the one with the adjustable strap, it's the more formal looking one. So it's one that you pretty much have to have a collared shirt with. So it's very personal what you want to wear it with. When I wear a clip-on, I don't usually put it on the collar. I do it one button down, sort of more of an open-necked look, and it makes it a little bit more casual.
So, if you're interested in getting your own custom bow tie, you have to get in touch with us. So very cute, SEWFAIRY cute. And you can just Google that and you'll see her on Etsy, and you can order a custom design, or you can get in touch with her
at 250-478-7461. One last thing. I love taking a long tie and converting it into a bow tie. So if you've got your grandfather's tie that's a little bit tired, I'd love to take it and make it into a bow tie for you. I love those memorial things. Or if your great uncle has died and he always wore this checkered shirt, I could take that shirt and make it into 15 bow ties for the people going to his celebration of life. So there's just no end of things I can do for you.
What a lovely concept. So if you want more fudge, you can get it at a few places, actually. You can get it at the Christmas Fair in Metchosin.
Oh, yes, yeah, the craft fair in Metchosin, yes.
You can get it at Metchosin Day, which is the second Sunday in September in Metchosin. Or you can come to the Fudge Fairy stand, which is at
4736 William Head Road. I have a sandwich board at the end of the driveway. And the nice thing about the stand is I'll never know how much you're buying. So it's a nice kind of anonymity thing.
Right. So you can eat all the junk you want and just leave your money. Okay. Or if you're interested in the bow ties, it's So Fairy Cute, SEWFAIRYCUTE. And you can Google her. She's on Etsy and happy to do custom designs for you. My name is Jane Johnston. I'm with Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and the host of Vancouver Island Time. Stay tuned for more shows and more information on what it's like to live, and welcome to the neighborhood of Metchosin. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.
Do you feel like you're drowning in administrivia? Do you have a podcast you would like transcribed to repurpose as a blog or even a best-selling book? Rhonda's Virtual Office is the answer to the freedom you crave so you can get busy doing what you love. Let Rhonda's virtual office give you the relief you need. Visit rhondasvirtualoffice.com and get some peace of mind today. Rhonda's Virtual Office is the go-to transcription service for EWN Podcast Network.